Hi everyone and welcome back. I am really happy to introduce Zarja. Zarja, give us a wave. Hello.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us today. So we're going to be diving into a customer interview with Zarja, and I just want to give you a little introduction before I kind of pass over to let you say a little bit more about your product and your company. So Zarja Chibi is founder of MyTamarin, and you're building a tech-powered childcare marketplace. So tell us a little bit more about what does that look like? What's the problem you're solving?
Yeah, thank you, Lizzie, and thank you for having me. So look, childcare is a really large market. It's 11 billion in value in the UK alone, but it's also like a big problem for parents because the market is very much underserved and dated and very much technology starved. So on the one hand, when parents are looking for childcare, they can go through traditional recruitment agencies, which are slow and therefore also expensive, or through some uncurated childcare directories, which are an inefficient way for parents who are trying to find childcare. What we do, we combine the best of two worlds. So we use technology to automate some parts of the recruitment process, but we maintain a human touch in the process, obviously to protect the children and their safety so that parents can be comfortable going back at work. And we use artificial intelligence to help us match parents with nannies.
And can you share a little bit about how did you come up with the name MyTamarin? I love the story.
Yeah, so tamarins are monkeys who parent in family groups to help each other out when children are small. So we believe that raising children really takes a village, except for that we've lost that traditional village. So what we're building for parents, for modern parents, is this modern village.
Thank you. So as a marketplace, what is your team size at the moment in terms of the team who are supporting the build at the minute?
Yeah, so we are currently 5 people. So in addition to myself, I have a data scientist who's helping with all the algorithms as well as supervising the development of the technology. We have a psychologist who's also an experienced recruiter. So she understands really well the underlying psychology of human relationships and what makes a good match between a nanny and a family. She's also a recruiter, which means she understands the recruitment processes in and out. In addition to her, we then also have 2 other full-time recruiters of nannies, and that's the team.
So as a team of 5, I would love to understand a little bit more about the tools that you use to enable yourselves to really progress with the work that you're doing. So if I were to dig in a little bit to the kind of SaaS tools that you use as a team, and that's specifically the ones that you pay for. So maybe that might be your mailing list, your CRM. What kind of SaaS products do you pay for as a team?
Yeah, so MailChimp is definitely one of the big ones for us. That's how we communicate with parents and nannies, and it's important for us to see what's the success and behavior on different campaigns.
Use any tools maybe for accountancy or?
Yeah, we use Xero for bookkeeping.
That's great. Anything else you pay for? I don't know, analytic tools. So you were talking about the data science element, or are they mostly free tools?
No, so for specific, our CRM is custom made because there aren't any CRMs that work really well for the childcare sector. And they would be too expensive for us at the moment. So where we are is somewhere between very smart Excel sheets and a completely custom built CRM. But it really helps us track our funnel. We're currently working on how we're going to integrate that end to end from like Google and other advertising through our webpage through like sort of at the end of conversion. We pay also for Mandrill, which is part of MailChimp, again, for our automatic emails. And then we don't pay for Slack, although we use it. And I am not a fan of Slack, specifically when it comes to communication. I believe that communicating in person or live, it's much faster and therefore much more efficient. So I'm trying to get actually everyone off Slack, off messaging, off email. And because we're a small team, that shouldn't be a problem. We all sit together so we can talk as opposed to text each other.
Right. And so do you have anyone remote in the team, or are you all physically together?
So one of us is working remotely, and most of the technology is also developed remotely.
Right.
So
Do you
we do
Zoom or?
no, we actually don't use Zoom. We use Skype
Right.
for our weekly calls,
Yeah.
and then Slack
Yeah. You know.
for for those daily interactions.
Okay. So thinking more about your specific as a founder, what personal SaaS products do you pay for? So these might not be, the whole company might not need them, but things that you do use specifically as a founder.
There isn't much more that we pay for. I am running quite a tight ship. We've basically bootstrapped so far. So even though it's, you know, £20 per month or whatever, we're trying to save on those. And so I think those that we've gone through, it's probably everything that we pay for.
It covers it all. So definitely thinking about that in terms of your bootstrap journey. I'd love to understand more about how has that been for MyTamarin? How has the funding looked? Aside for grants, what other kind of funding have you accessed?
Yeah, so look, as I went into this business, as I decided to leave my quite nice paying job before, I said I need to prove it to myself first that I can make money, as opposed to like raise money and then spend it. So from day one, we were actually making money. So the revenues for us are quite an important part of our funding journey, so to speak. We were fortunate enough to also win one of the Innovate UK grants, and I put on some of my own money in as an investment. We are currently fundraising though, because we believe we're in a position where we need to start growing faster.
Yeah, so I guess at the moment then, is it right to say that you don't have external shareholders at the minute in terms of investors?
No, I have potential investors, which we're
Okay.
hoping they're going to become shareholders soon.
Yeah.
But currently I'm the only shareholder.
So thinking about those potential investors, are there other groups of people that you might be sharing information with about MyTamarin that you're kind of trying to keep warm?
Yes, of course. Everyone that I talk to, I try to, between the time that we had last met and the time we meet next, or that we sign the final documents, I want to make sure that they're updated, and they see our progress. So what I tend to do is every month I pull the key KPIs together, which I then share with those people.
And talk me through what that looks like for you. How much time do you spend? What tools do you use? How do you get that information to that group of people?
Yeah, so the information that we share for us, it's monthly revenues and how they've grown over time compared to previous periods. Also how many customers we have on both sides, as parents as well as nannies. And then in terms of placement, what's the value or volume of all the hours of nanny services that have been provided through us. So all this information is relatively straightforward and something that I track for myself and for the company anyway. So it just comes off of my Excel sheets that are custom made, but fairly simple for me to follow. So I don't use anything in particular or anything specific beyond that, but I do then share this via emails in no other fancier way.
Yeah, and is that just in the body of the email? Do you make a PDF and send it? What does that look like?
No, it's just in the email. It's really just a few lines. And it's not worth my time to make it pretty.
Right. So this is definitely all hypothetical, what I'm going to ask you next, but when you hopefully do raise the investment, have those people as shareholders and continue your updating, what would you love that engagement and relationship to be like? What would the perfect scenario be for you?
Yeah, I think obviously it's important to keep investors updated on the progress of the company. And that, in my opinion, probably like you have to find a good frequency, which depends on the type of business and how frequently things change or evolve. So that's either between like once a month, every 2 months, possibly every quarter, or you could have like a monthly update and a slightly more in-depth quarterly update. I think it's important to find a way that doesn't take away too much extra time from the team, but at the same time satisfies the investors, because the worst thing I think that can happen is that you're sending them some information that seems to them incomplete, and then they sort of individually come back to you with follow-up questions.
Right, because then I guess then the time sink is then even further if you have to follow up.
Exactly.
So what do you think for you that cadence might be, just in terms of your own reporting? When do you feel is a good frequency for updates?
Well, I definitely track all the key KPIs on a monthly basis. But because our ticket, so average revenue for customer, is actually relatively high, so over 1,000, the frequency isn't that high. So and we have some seasonality in the business. So for me, like the better way to look at the progress is on a quarterly basis. Whether, how we're going to agree to report with our investors, that remains up for the debate, and it's going to be a good problem to have, hopefully, in the next couple of months.
Yes, hopefully we will be able to circle back and you'll have good news the next time we speak. So thank you so much for giving us your time today, for joining us for that customer interview. So that's Zarja from MyTamarin. And where can people check out MyTamarin and find out more?
All right, thanks, Lizzie. That was good.
Take care. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.